Hey, what is happening, guys? Rules for Rebels here, and the title of today's video is how one stupid Bitcoin trade cost me over $27,000. Now, basically, I made a stupid move and decided to sell off a bunch of Bitcoins back during all the talk about the fork, and back when Bitcoin was swinging from like $1,100, $1,200 down to like $868, back up to $1,100, down to $900. Now, I know we all have some story about like, oh, if I'd only bought that stock a day sooner, or oh, if I didn't sell Apple at $90 and let it ride, I'd have all this money. This particular situation is kind of extra frustrating because I had a plan to build up a large accumulation of Bitcoins for the long haul, wasn't planning on selling any off, and I kind of have told myself, like, look, don't sell any Bitcoins, continue to accumulate. If you want to accumulate some more to swing trade with, go ahead and do so, but like, don't sell any off of your core holdings. So for any of you guys who are new to my videos, I know sometimes these Bitcoin videos attract people who don't necessarily watch the rest of my content, but back, I forget when that flash crash down to 487 happened, probably like June of last year or something like that. But anyhow, I've been involved in Bitcoin for a couple of years. I made the video telling my subscribers like, hey, check out Bitcoin. It may be something you want to get into. I think at the time Bitcoin was at $550 or $600. We had that whole flash crash occur. I think it had to do with the Bitfinex hack, if I'm not mistaken. And basically Bitcoin crashed down to 487. Coinbase and a lot of other exchanges kind of halted trading for a day or so, and then everything came back online. And I was kind of, you know, Bitcoin would kind of come up and then it'd dive down, and I was kind of doing some swing trading and stuff back then, and I had a decent amount of Bitcoins because Bitcoins didn't cost a ton back then. However, once Bitcoins kind of started forming a solid base in like the $800 range, $900 range, I kind of said to myself, I don't think we're going to go back into those cheap ranges again, so like, do not sell off a big chunk of your Bitcoins. And my long-term overall plan was to have a holding of like at least 20 Bitcoins, and if I wanted to get some extras and kind of swing trade them or, you know, play around, cool, I'll do that. So anyhow, I had about 15 Bitcoins at the time, which if you go off the recent high of, was it $2,250 or thereabouts, give or take, I don't know, maybe up to $2,280 or something. Anyhow, if you go off the recent high, that would have been valued at, I don't know, 30-something thousand dollars. Basically, what wound up happening was I was seeing Bitcoin go from 8 to 12, back down to 9, up to 11, back down to 9, and it almost seemed like clockwork. On like a weekly basis it was happening. So I kind of started thinking in my head like, oh, you know, it's kind of a shame to be sitting on Bitcoin because volatility is where you make money. So I thought maybe, you know, the next time we hit a peak, I'll sell off, and then sure enough, a week later, we're going to dive back down to 900, and I'll buy back in real heavy and even use some of those profits to accumulate more Bitcoin. At the same time, I've been kind of telling my dad a little bit about Bitcoin for a number of years, and he's been dabbling with investing a bit. My dad was like, you know, you could probably make some money on this volatility, and okay, yeah. Then my business partner is telling, oh, did you see Bitcoin? I kind of got him into Bitcoin. You see Bitcoin's up, Bitcoin's down. He's like, man, I'd be trading this stuff, which, you know, I should have just stuck to my plan and held on to my coins, and I kind of let my business partner get in my ear, and my dad said the same thing. And like I said, it was also kind of a thought that I was having in my own head, and so I was kind of like, you know what? It's almost like clockwork. The thing goes up and down and up and down. Like, I might as well make some money along the way. So anyhow, I wind up selling off a lot of my coins at, I don't know, 1100, 1160, something thereabouts. Brought myself back down to like 3 or 4 coins. Anyway, I was planning on buying back in heavy. Unfortunately, Bitcoin never dropped back down again. And I was kind of the mindset like, oh, it's kind of high at 1200, 1300. I probably should hold off on buying. I'm going to wait for another dip. And then sure enough, we go to the moon. And what's kind of funny is all along I was like, you know what? I was always kind of scared to sell off because I figured the one time I sell off is going to be the time that it you know, it just keeps going up, up, and up, and it doesn't come back down. And sure enough, that's what wound up happening. So I realized that I didn't really lose $27,000. In reality, I actually made some good money along the way, and I'm still sitting on a good number of Bitcoins. Every week I have an automatic, I think it's a $50 or $100 ACH debit that comes out of my account and goes into Bitcoin. So I'm kind of dollar cost averaging as it goes up. So like I said, I've made some money along the way. I still have some coins. You know, I'm sure we all have a situation where like, oh, if I'd only bought that stock a day sooner, oh, if I'd only held on to that stock a week long, you know, we've all had some situation like that when it comes to money. So I'm not really like tripping or sweating about, oh, I lost out on this money, but I just thought it was kind of funny. Had I stuck to my initial plan and not deviated from it, I would have been probably $27,000 richer at the moment. Like I said, not really kicking myself. I think Bitcoin's still got a lot of room to go up. The next time we do pull back a little, I don't care if we're at 1900, 2100, whatever it is. The next little pullback we get, I am going to sink a little bit more in. And kind of a strategy that I had all along that I deviated from is once I had a good amount of coins, I kept kind of telling myself, okay, so the next time I'm not going to sell anything, but the next time it dips, let's say we go from 1200 down to 1100, I'm going to buy $2,500 worth of Bitcoins. Now, if Bitcoin comes back up and I make 500 bucks, I'm going to pull out the initial 2,500, leave the 500 in there, so I'm continuing to build on the Bitcoins that I have, and then, I got $500 more in Bitcoins. The next time it drops again, I'm going to buy back in with $2,500. If it comes back up and I'm up 300 or 400 at whatever point I want to get out, I sell off the 2,500, recoup my initial investment, and I've just, I'm up $300 more in Bitcoin. So that was my plan. I deviated from it. Just kind of wanted to share this story with you guys. The funny thing about Bitcoins is I just read some article the other day that they said with 80% certainty, you can predict what Bitcoin is going to do based off of what people are saying online in forums and things like that. And that's kind of what I said from the very beginning. I said, I really don't trade on candlesticks or price analyses. Like, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of consumer behavior, investors' behavior, etc. And that's kind of what I trade on. And sure enough, I saw an article on Reddit the other day that said, I thought that was pretty crazy, with 80% certainty, you can predict the future of Bitcoin just off whether people in forums are bullish or bearish. So I was going to make a video and share that article with you guys. I'll try to make that either later tonight or tomorrow, and kind of share that article with you guys, because I thought it was kind of interesting, and it may help you with your Bitcoin buying, knowing when to buy, knowing when to sell, etc. But yeah, what kind of really annoyed me about this was just the fact that I had a plan in place. I hadn't deviated from it in years, going back to whenever I first got back into Bitcoin. I don't know if it was 2012, 2013, whenever it was. Actually, maybe it wasn't that early. Maybe it was 2014, 20. I don't know. Anyhow, whenever it was, for a number of years, I didn't really deviate from my plan. I deviate from my plan, and that's the one time that, we don't come back down. We form a solid base and keep going up. So figured I'd share that story as a word of caution. One other thing that was kind of in my head at that time was everybody was talking about the Bitcoin fork, and people were getting pretty nervous about it, and that kind of scared me. And that was actually what was kind of causing the price to go down. But I guess another example of if you just follow human behavior, okay, people are flipping out about the fork, it's going to drive the price down. A week from now, 2 weeks from now, it's going to be right back where it was, if not higher. So I kind of went away from listening to that logic, went away from my plan, and wound up missing out on a bunch of money. But it's been a while since I've made a Bitcoin update video. I'll try to make one within the next couple days, where I actually show you guys the historical chart, and we can kind of see what Bitcoin's been doing the last couple weeks. But I've been meaning to make this video for a while. It's a couple weeks ago, maybe even a month or two ago, that this happened. I'm still sitting pretty good on Bitcoin. I don't know, I probably got 10 grand or something like that in Bitcoin at the moment. And I've been buying some Ethereum and also some Litecoin. I think as of today, Litecoin's at about 25 bucks. That's where about I got into it at. I think it was up to 30. I bought it when it came back down to 26 and some change, and we're sitting a little bit lower than that right now. Ethereum I got into at $13, which it had actually come down a bit after the Ethereum fork, or the hard fork, or whatever that was. I think I bought it at 13. I'm like, man, I got in at a really good price. Sure enough, it tanked down to 8. I should have bought some then, but I was like, oh man, maybe this Ethereum's never going to do anything. And then sure enough, it went back up. So I think I bought some more at 15, bought some more at 18. Is it Ethereum? Yeah, that's Ethereum. And I think it's back down, I think around 150 today. But I think for a short period of time, sometime within the past couple days, that one had crossed $200. So as far as what my plan with Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum is, I'm not involved with Dash. I know Dash is a hot one. I'd like to get involved, although I really kind of only deal with Coinbase these days after having some bad experiences on some other exchanges. So I'm not currently holding any Dash. I got Bitcoin, I got Ethereum, and I got Litecoin. And basically, I think Bitcoin, I got $100 automatic withdrawal coming out a week going into that. Ethereum, I think I'm at 50, and Litecoin, I'm at 25. So, I don't know, basically, I'm cutting back on some meals, cutting back on, some fun things I might otherwise do, and that money that might go to a nice dinner out or a night on the town with friends, I'm just throwing into cryptocurrencies and holding for the long term. But figured I'd share that story with you guys today. If you guys have had any similar stories, if you guys want to share what your strategy is with Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum or Dash or your predictions for any of these currencies, feel free to drop your comments in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will check you out in the next video.